Right. I'm just checking the screen because the live link should appear any moment now. Very short, let's talk about being authentic. The #1 reason why people disconnect from your brand on social media, why they unfollow, why they unlike, is because you are sending too many sales messages, marketing messages. Another great reason is because you're being boring and repetitive. So what you need to do is you need to share beautiful content, address them on their emotions. Keep it short and simple because everyone's on mobile these days, and you need to be authentic. Like Kevin said, be yourself. And for some reason, that's quite difficult, being authentic on social media. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to go to Barcelona, and we're going to see Thomas Christensen. He is the man behind the wonderful Copenhagen campaign. He's not on stage yet? I thought he was. All right. Yeah. All right, cool. So we've got some extra time. All right, no, so seriously, they've done something really, really well about being authentic and being different and standing out from all the other DMOs that try to share their story as well. I'm just curious, now that we have a little bit of extra time, during one of the breaks, I met a person that said to me, I'm really looking forward to getting some more practical advice in how I can manage my social media better. This is perhaps a good moment to see if there's anyone here in the crowd that has just some practical questions. And I can't see all, yeah, that's better. Is there anyone that wants to ask something about how they can use social media better, just on the practical side of it? No one yet, I guess. Saved by Nick. All right, in that case, you know where to find me the rest of the day. If you do have any practical questions, but you feel too embarrassed to ask them here in front of everyone, you know where to find me. And I think we'll go straight to Nick, right? Thank you.
We look forward to hearing your tweets over there in Scotland, but also here in Barcelona. We did actually pick the winner, but we're going to have to announce the winner after Thomas. Thomas is going to share some really great insights about what the team at Wonderful Copenhagen have been doing. I have to say I'm truly amazed by how they think and how they work. It's unlike any DMO that I've ever come across. I think they can be considered amongst the DMO community as a true disruptor. So please give a very warm welcome to Thomas Christensen from Wonderful Copenhagen.
Thank you. Barcelona, I've been here, like, I don't know, so many times. It's the best place on earth. And we have so many talks about things being crowded. Like, this would be like my little tip. This is Asger, who's actually sitting right here. Thursday morning. It's a place nobody knows about. In the summertime, it gets a little bit crowded, but it's the best place to go, drink wine, watch the sunset or the sunrise. So, I chose this, the banana principle. Like, release early, release often, test fast, fail fast, whatever. I chose this one because it had I could actually do a slide with a banana on it. But it's a little bit of a disclaimer for the rest of my talk, because what we are doing right now is actually, we're not completely in control of where we're going, but we have some kind of direction of where we want to go. So some things that I say you might not agree with, and some things I say I actually have no idea what it actually is, but we'll see how it goes. First of all, digital. Like, the word digital is so overused. This is a digital conference. I don't like it. Like, what is digital? Everything, like, yesterday we heard Google, like, people live online, everything is digital. everything, I have my phone, like apparently I'm one of those people who like swipe it open 150 times a day. So everybody is online all the time, and everything has some kind of digital ending to it. Like even if we see an ad in a newspaper, we go online, search. So we like to use the term networked instead of digital because it makes more sense to what we are doing. Like we actually want to look at not the devices, but look at the people and the conversations they're having. Again, like I went to London about 2 weeks ago for the, what's it called? WTM, yeah. And I saw a lot of these things, like, and got a lot of demonstrations of these virtual reality things and Apple Watches and so on. And the thing is, like, you can get carried away in the moment. Like it's fantastic to drive down, I don't know, some street in New York, whatever. But for us, it's like everybody else. It's easy to get carried away and jump on that bandwagon. But as long as it doesn't have a networked approach to it, or it doesn't connect people and spark conversations, we are going to wait a little bit. So this is like not, we want to be on the front of digital or network development, but it has to make sense. Like we have real people, tourists, I don't like that term either. And then we have wonderful Copenhagen on the other side. Like this is where we are coming from and to some extent still are. And on the other side, we have real people, what they actually do. Like, so when we're, and here I'm talking about campaigning. Like, we used to do like landing pages, a lot of them, like, because that's what you do when you do a campaign. You want people to go to a landing page and really spend a lot of time researching for your destination, like getting inspired and so on. The problem is, like, in the real world, I don't know if you take the train every day, I do. Like, people are like this. This is how people use and consume information. So people are mobile. They're looking for some kind of content, that snack moment, if it's 15 seconds or 2 minutes or whatever. They don't want to go to a website. They want to stay in the app, like Instagram, Facebook, or whatever they have open. Like they don't want to go into your website. Maybe they do if they want to book something, but in the inspiration part, that's what the data we are looking at right now. People are always on, all year round. They're always in travel mode. Some kind of like, when I get back home, I'm going to plan my next holiday because I'm in a travel mode already. Like, I want to go again. And we come from a place where we do a lot of campaigns, and we would do them like 2, 3, or 4 times a year. So we would have these spikes, which is ridiculous because everybody is looking for some place to go all year round. Yes, this is what a campaign usually, or campaigns usually look like. We would have a small test period where we would test content against the people we want to reach. And then we would have like a bigger burst where we would spend all the media budget at once and then wait for 3, 4, 5 months or whatever, and then do it once again. Like, of course, we have an evaluation and so on. The problem is, as I said before, real people's world look like this. Like the last speaker that was here, like it's so complex how they look for information, how they book. We might go search for 3 destinations in 5 minutes. Like I follow the Faroe Islands on Instagram and I'm really hooked. I just want to go. I have them in my feed all day, like every day. This is the landscape we are looking at right now. So these are the goals that we're not quite there yet, but we're working towards it, like having 360 days of campaigning, trying to build conversations instead of selling stuff, and deliver relevant niche content to people, like content they're actually interested in. Like Copenhagen, a few years back, like we thought, okay, maybe we could have a photo of a castle, the Little Mermaid, whatever. But we actually found out that people travel for other stuff. Like if they're foodies, they actually travel for food. Or if they are into green living, they actually travel because it's a bike-friendly city and so on. So how do we cope with this? We're trying different stuff right now, but we want something that looks like this. On one side, we have the BBC World Newsroom, and on the other side, we have an advertising agency. And we don't want to be either. Like, we know that we have to produce content and facilitate content very, very quickly if we want to do 365 days and reach people where they are and what they're interested in. So something like this is where we're moving towards. I'll get into that in a moment. I like this, like markets are conversations. I don't know, like it's a book, like it's 10 years old or something like that, but it's still true. Like when we look at stuff like this in our Instagram feed, we know that something is going on. Like sparking those conversations, people mentioning each other, we should go. Like, have you seen this? Like this is a dream come true for every marketer. Like people actually having a conversation about your product. So the way we go about it is we look at like all the things we have in Copenhagen. It could be everything from food to gastronomy, bike-friendly bike paths, royal castles, everything really. All of these things we look at as social objects that people can have a conversation about and people can be interested in. So our goal is to create and spark these objects and then see what happens if people are having conversations about them. Here are a few examples. Like over here on your left side, we have the smallest hotel in the world. Funny enough, it's called the Central Hotel and Cafe. It only has one room and a little coffee shop. It's a very nice place, and of course, it's like from an economic point of view, it's kind of hard to make a city go around with one room. But it's something that every time we use a photo like this of this hotel, it sparks like a crazy conversation. Everybody is like, have you seen this? We should go, we should book this. And then we get people in a mode of actually going to research for Copenhagen, maybe for that hotel, but also maybe see, okay, maybe it's booked, maybe we should find another hotel, maybe there's something else someplace else to go. And then give me like gastronomy, like cookies, whatever, like people go crazy over these things. But it could also be a collaboration with museums. This is the Louisiana Museum of Modern Art. We go there every time they have like a new big exhibition opening, and it's a way of getting everybody around the city involved in what we're doing and actually trying to spark conversations, not about the destination, but about the social object, which in this case could be art. I try to keep things very simple when we work with this. Like we have observe, create, and boost. Like this is bridge called the Circle Bridge. It's like 6 months old now, I think. And we saw that when it opened, a lot of people was talking about it. We saw a lot of pictures on Instagram. As you might see, it's a really cool architecture. So we knew something was going on there. So instead of just letting that conversation go, we thought, okay, maybe we should just do something that regular people can't do. So we actually, we took a drone and we sent it into the air and showed the bridge from a perspective that would normal people usually, like, I don't know, most people don't fly around over bridges on a daily basis. So, like, we observe what is cool, what is happening right now, what conversations are actually happening, and then we try to create content that can take those conversations even further. So we create that, then we have a look at it. Like, it has 2,300 likes, which for us, at least, is a lot of likes on a video. So we knew that this was a great piece of content. And then we actually have a few tests on Instagram with the advertising. Tina, right down here, is really the expert. You should go and talk to her. But what we do is we boost it towards people who are, like, this was for the American market, but people who are interested in architecture and, like, in bike culture, because it's a bike bridge. You can bike over it, and it kind of like tells a story about Green Copenhagen and so on. So that's what we do, like, observe, create, and if it works, then boost. To keep this ball rolling, we need some kind of structure. And the thing is, when you start and you want to change something in an organization like ours, and I think like most of your organizations, like, you don't get a lot of money to start something new because everything is great as it is. So we're like, no money, no problem. We even made a logo, and we made something called the Disruptive Tourism Lab. It started as a joke, but it's a way of doing something on the side in the organization that hopefully brings value and can create a change that we can all use, like, in the next months or years to come. In our building, we have a 5th floor that is almost empty. It's waiting for renovation, and but there's some room there, and there's a lot of furniture stacked up, and it's a mess really. But we thought, okay, like, we have meeting rooms, and, like, we sit at our computer all day. We need some place where we can actually go and feel free to think, like, a little bit creative every day. So we went there, and I actually, like, while the others were working, I made a little video with our iPhone. Like, we worked for an hour or so. As you can probably see, it's nothing fancy. But it's really cool to actually get out of the office, even though it's just one floor up from where we sit and work. So we feel that we are part of something special, and we actually enjoy going there. And before we talk about who's involved in it, like, we have a very basic foundation. Like, some of you have probably seen this before. Like, we do something. There's always, when you do something, there's always some kind of learning, and we have tried to have reflection in our team, and then we apply that reflection to the next thing we're going to do. So this is how we work, like, on a daily or weekly basis, like, really trying to get those reflections in more often than we're used to. Like, usually we do a campaign, and then we would get the learnings, like, maybe a month later, and then we would do it again 4 months later. So we're trying to speed up that process very much. This is what it looks like now. We are around, I'm the one taking the photograph, so I'm not there, but as you can see, it's just young white men. Dan, he's half Chinese, so, and he's really cool. Like, but we have Dan on. He's at the guy looking at the computer. He is in charge of all our social on the Chinese platforms. Then Then we have Asger, who's sitting right here. He's in charge of our website content. Then we have Nikolai. He's on Facebook and Twitter, and he's also doing corporate communications and so on. But that's his platforms. And then we have Mikkel. He's a student, but he works a lot with analytics and setting up websites, like more the technical stuff. So he's not a part of the daily routines, but we invite him to the lab once in a while. So we meet 1 hour each Friday morning. Like everybody else in the organization is having breakfast in the morning, we go to work actually to spend an hour. We can bring our breakfast there as well and have a cup of coffee. But what we try to do every time is not just to plan. Like you really, when you're working, like you have so many things you have to do, but we actually try to get some learnings in there every week. So this is Dan. He's giving us a little bit lecture on Chinese social, which is for me like a completely strange area. Which is so it's really nice to have this guy who can keep us in the loop. What is happening? What kind of content is relevant for the Chinese? Sometimes it's really different from what the Swedish are turned on to. So so that would be one of the learnings, or it can be like if Mikkel has something about the analytics parts, that's something that has changed during the last couple of weeks or months, like he can take 5 or 10 minutes to tell us about that. And then the planning, like we do planning each week for the content that we're going to create or facilitate for the next week. And sometimes we look even further ahead. This is, I'll get back to this case in a second. Here we are, like, you can see it's really lo-fi, no digital here. Like it's just a piece of paper and a pen, but it works really well and it's quick and it's like prototyping. And then we have the production truck. Like, we don't have like a 3-man camera crew that can live stream. Like, all we have is a backpack, but it's filled with cool gear, like DSLR that can shoot great video. It can take photographs. And it has a Wi-Fi card, so we can actually be very present here now. Upload from minute to minute. Like we have a little GoPro camera, of course a battery most importantly for the iPhone, and little tripod so we can do like long exposures or time lapses or whatever. And the reason why we have this is like I take a lot of the photographs we use both on our websites and social media, and I usually do it on my way to work or on the way home because, and then I have a chunk in the middle of the day where I actually sit down and do real work. But what we can do is now we can be present all year round, like, and show the things about Copenhagen that are not the usual kind of like sights to see, but it can be like, this is a cemetery right next to where I live. It's the biggest one in Copenhagen, and it's actually a very beautiful place, especially in the fall. So we can highlight that. Or like, the hotel I was talking about earlier, it's right next to my son's school, so I walk past that like maybe a few times a week at least. So, and then I have my production truck on my back, so it's really easy to take the camera out and spend a few minutes, snap a photograph, and then I can hop on the bus. Like interest-based movies, it would be, this is for a Danish little shop that does design bicycles. Like, so I can grab my camera. It's 15 seconds. It's Instagram length. And then we can do like literally in half a day, plan, go shoot, edit, and go home. Like spend 4 hours on it. But we can create like little bits and pieces of content that are relevant. This would be another example from a restaurant called Høst, which is kind of like a mini Noma Nordic gastronomy thing. But it's like that's what's really cool about today. Like you can have really high quality production equipment on your back. So this is how we plan it. This is what it looks like. We have the platforms in the middle. If new platforms become relevant, like Periscope, for instance, or whatever, if we want to take that on, then there's enough room for that in there. And then we have like the seasons, and then we have all the events that are happening. But and when we think about events, it's not only like big events. It can be like first snow of the year. Every week we look at the weather report as well. Snow coming. This is going to be foggy, which can create really great photos around Copenhagen. Is there something else going on? Is there a new restaurant? Is there something going on because of this seasonal thing, like Easter or Christmas? Has it been way too long since we've been to the zoo and shot photos? Let's get them on board. Like, so maybe they can give us free. Okay, this is the opening of Tivoli Gardens. They open for Christmas each year, so we have that in the calendar already. Like, and then we know one photo for Instagram, which is, and then you have the dimensions. I like the portrait mode. Nikolai needs one for Facebook. He needs one for Twitter as well, and Asger needs we have a slideshow on all the products on our website, like the Tivoli Christmas has its own page on our website. So I'd create like 4 or 5 photos that are good in a slideshow. And then Dan, which is always the joker on the Chinese, he always wants 9 photos because on Weibo, you have to do you don't have to, but it's really the best way of getting the most exposure. So he needs 9 photos. So he's like the really demanding dude, and it's one by one. But I know this is, so I have this in my pocket, and I know this is what I'm going to create. Then I have a talk with Dan about what do the Chinese, what could be exotic for them, and apparently Santa Claus can be like a bit exotic in China. So usually I wouldn't shoot pictures of Santa Claus, but if Dan wants it, so be it. So these are some of the photos from the opening. There he is. And this is a classic. This one as well, we know this one turns into a lot of likes. This one as well. So as you can see, I have certain things that I know I want to shoot, and then I have something that my colleagues tell me that maybe you should go and shoot this, and they will prepare the text for it and maybe send it to me if I post on Instagram. So Nikolai will send me a little text about the opening, and then we would distribute all the text to the different. Dan does the Chinese. I don't want to get involved in that. And then this is Instagram. So this would be what it looks like there. And then Twitter, different photo, but Facebook, there you go. Little gallery, the web. Once again, maybe I send 9 pictures to Asger, and then he can pick and choose what he wants, what he thinks works the best. And then Weibo, we have the 9 photos, Santa Claus, and all of the comments. I have no idea what they say. But then we go shoot, we post, then we go back to the lab. We have some learnings. We have the learnings, especially on Instagram and on all social media. If I post it on the way home, even before I get home, I can see if it's good content and if it creates a conversation around the object. So that learning is really fast. but then we go back in the team and do a collective reflection on it, and then we actually do it again. So kind of like a closed loop, but with different content each week. Oh, sorry. I have 2 more minutes, yeah. So what's next? So this is just the beginning for us. We started this a few months ago. We know we can produce all the content, and we know that there's a lot of people out there who do an even better job than us, like taking photos or writing about the city. So we want to get them involved somehow in the loop of creating these conversations about these objects and maybe introducing some of them to the way we work and see if they can help us in some kind of way. And then another thing that we need to work on is dialogue. A lot of people have talked about that, but actually being there and being present, not just posting and then letting the ball roll, but actually going back and engage in that conversation. Right now, we're not too good at that, but we're working on it, doing a setup for that.
He's only got 30 seconds left, so we're going to just cut him off there.